Hello and welcome to Behind the Bar. Wait, what's that? A Good Taste presents Behind the Bar. That's why I don't do it. My name is James.
And I'm Chandler.
And this week we're going to be talking about the thing that we have the least experience in.
The least most experience in.
Opening
And
restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
Opening and closing and working at restaurants and bars.
The food industry. It's tough to break in, but sometimes you gotta break a couple eggs to make a mess.
But of course, as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, that's the good one.
That is the good one.
The subscribing one is.
It is. It's kind of. I'll be honest. It's like the most important one because we could not do this without them. Because then otherwise we'd have to go back to the places that we're about to talk about. Mm-hmm. Right, without names, of course.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have this delicious, simple beverage to gab about.
That sounds fantastic.
And we're gonna be talking about and drinking. This is what was it? A highball?
It is a Toki Suntory whiskey highball.
Oh.
Made with one of the most prolific Japanese whiskeys on the American markets today.
Oh.
Suntory is one of the largest whiskey producers in the world. It is, I believe, Beam Suntory. If not, now they're like Suntory International or something along those lines. But anyway, it's the Japanese whiskey conglomerate that now is owner of Jim Beam, and so they own just so much stuff. Mm-hmm. Like they are kind of the man of large scale whiskey production and distribution. And as we can kind of tell from the highball right now, Japanese whiskey, which we've talked about on the pod before.
I think we've talked about Toki back when it was audio only.
A little bit. But we talked about how a lot of Japanese whiskey is influenced by Scotch style of whiskey making in the way that it's got that interesting kind of peat smoke to it. It's made in highlands that are similar to or have like climate kind of analog to the Japanese highlands as to the Scotland highlands, and also Nika, the brand Nika is named after a man who was one of the first to establish whiskey making in Japan after going to Scotland to study the art, the craft, and then brought back what he found and what he learned and developed what was the coffee style?
Yep, the coffee style, which we actually featured back in audio only, and I feel like we should probably revisit, which was using a coffee still, KOFFE, right? Wasn't that the whole thing?
It was just COFFY.
I could have sworn it was a K. No, it's a C. You're right. It's a C.
That's named after an Irishman who developed a coffee still, or not a coffee, who developed his last name was Coffee. He developed a style of distillation that is different from a pot still in that it has various levels of distillation, and it's essentially a column still. We talk about that.
Yeah, it's a fancy column still.
It's a very
except for
specific.
I think isn't the difference. It's been a while since we focused on it. Wow. Column still obviously has the different pods where the different gravities. You can tap into it.
Yeah,
and you can taste and sample.
Different, because like the actual like height levels determine how much or how potent your distillate is at those different levels as a result of the steam coming up from the bottom and the wash coming down from the top. It's interesting. It's got a lot of lore, a lot of in-depth sciencey shit going on in there. Anyway,
and lack of lore is the thing that's interesting about the Irish style that the Japanese distillers use.
That's the hilarious part. Is this guy in Ireland, from Ireland, developed this like remarkable, completely different distillation technique. Irish whiskey makers said, fuck you, we're going to keep doing it the way we've always been doing it in copper pot stills because that's what we like and that's what we do. Meanwhile, Scotland and Japan and even a lot of bourbon makers are like, you know what? We like that whole column still idea. We're going to start doing that. So the coffee style still really took off in Japan. And that gets us with Toki by Suntory Whiskey. Also, a little fun fact, in homage to Scotch whiskey, Suntory whiskey doesn't have an E in it, whereas bourbon and Irish whiskey, or like American whiskeys and Irish whiskeys, include the E as just like a colloquial kind of spelling to it.
I like that. That's interesting.
And so Japan was like, all right, we recognize where we got this from. We're doing whiskey style whiskey. What I don't really know actually about this is what kind of grains go into it, what its whole deal is really.
I know nothing about that.
It tastes most akin to like, I'd say like Dewar's, honestly, like Dewar's white label Scotch, where it's like not a super peaty Scotch, but it is enough to be a definite like, oh, this is not a bourbon, and this is not a rye. There is a smokiness, a maltiness to it that is very distinct. And I think what a lot of Japanese whiskeys do is they have a very delicate balance of flavors. Like I find in some of the other Japanese whiskeys that we've tried, there's not really an over pronunciation of any one flavor profile, and that might be just because we haven't tried some of the really higher end ones.
Like the cheetah grain one.
Yeah, what is that? The Caval? I think that one's a Thai.
That's the one that I was reading about. This one earlier. I was trying to find out stuff about Suntory. That was the one that they used the cheetah grain style. It's like a mixture of corn, and it's like fermented, I think, in cheetah, which is CHITA. I think it's like the province or the region that it's like the grains are like, fermented at.
Interesting.
Yeah. The Hibiki, which is their other one.
That's one of their higher end ones.
Yeah, that's one of their higher end ones. That's single grain.
I believe so.
That's the cheetah. That's the same as uses it's the single grain of the same style.
If it's single grain,
no, that one is not that one's not the blend. Cheetah is just the place.
Oh, it's not.
It's the place.
Okay.
No, it's the place. But I think it's extra oaked as well.
Huh.
Yeah.
The only other Japanese whiskeys I think that I've tried are the Akashi that I think we had like years ago. And that one was slightly more bourbony than some of the other Suntory ones. I don't believe that one is owned by Suntory. But then again, Suntory owns so fucking much. They're the Anheuser-Busch of whiskey.
Why are we drinking this today?
Well, because as you know, and as our listeners may know, I hold down a job the way a sandbag holds down, I was going to say like a hot air balloon, but like you need a lot of sandbags for that.
It's true.
And just one sandbag doesn't really hold down the whole balloon.
It's true.
So recently, I've just been radicalized, man. I think the COVID lockdowns and stuff just really made it so that whenever I enter in a new job, I'm just like, what is everyone fucking up on? And not everyone as in like the servers, I'm just like, how does this business feel like it's being inefficient? Or
how is it exploiting me, making my life terrible, and just being run poorly?
Yes. So concise.
Yeah, because especially as somebody who's working at these places, right? As a person who'd like to own one of these places, right? You'd probably want the place that you work or own to be a nice place.
To be a place that you look forward to going to.
Not like the places that we've worked.
And I don't think every place that I've worked I've dreaded going to. But having been in so many food service, even retail kind of experiences, kind of work experiences, you start to pick up on like these subtle red flags that just kind of show lapses in coordination, communication, and management that, as both of us have kind of talked about, especially in our Behind the Bar series, is we do have an ambition. Granted, it may be a lofty ambition or just, one of those like kind of old
High hopes
that
pie
like
in the sky.
apple pie
Hopes. Yeah.
like one of those things that you talk to your cellmate about where you're like, once we get out of here, I'm going to head to the coast. I'm going to get myself an old boat. And when you get out of here, meet me over there and we'll fix up that old boat together. And then we'll just live on the rest of our days of freedom on the seas.
I mean, isn't that like the natural conclusion and hopeful conclusion to this, which is where we worked under somebody's thumb who didn't treat us well, and we met, we became comrades, and
then we usurp their power. We oust them swiftly and violently.
we take their land.
And then we instill ourselves as de facto rulers of whatever business is happening.
Okay, America.
That's the American dream, is it not? But so anyway, we've worked in a handful of different things. We want to eventually own a bar. And so this whole time, I like to think we've been taking like little mental notes on just like, I would do that better, or I wouldn't do that, or even better, I like the way they did this. I would like to include that in my future business model.
Okay, but let's be real. How many times do you run into that? I'm not even trying to be a jerk.
That's a great point. However, there are every now and then details where I'm like, you know what? It seemed convoluted at the time, and then looking back on it, I'm like, okay, I get it. That it simplifies it in a way that like you don't have to retrain people to use a needlessly complicated system. For example, if you have some sort of method of like separating your if you're running a bar, especially if it's a restaurant bar, you definitely are going to want one person who's designated making service well drinks, who's just pumping out orders as they're coming in from servers who are putting in their POS. And then you also are going to want someone at the bar to bartend to the customers who are at the bar, to be almost like a personality hire, but are still able and capable of making and managing drinks. What tends to break down is when you have too many people come in and you haven't given enough training or like just general recipe review as you're opening a new place to really be as hands-on as you're expecting it.
That's what I like to call general failure number one, which is not providing your workers with enough knowledge. If you're not providing your workers, if you're not providing your workers with the tools and knowledge they need to succeed, they are not going to. So I'm not even gonna put my politics into it. Let's say you're operating from the thought of a capitalist who wants to make the most money, right? It is absolutely inefficient to just waste your labor, and it benefits you to educate the people who are working with you, provide them with good tools and good systems that allow them to work effectively so they can make more money and you can make more money.
Well, that begs the question, how do you prioritize what information is more pertinent than other information?
This is one of the reasons why I really wanted to do this episode, is because all that stuff is known. Anytime you walk into a restaurant and you see a restaurant performing badly or doing something wrong, it's because they haven't taken the time to try. They didn't take the time to educate themselves, because there are lots of systems and things that are in place. And yes, some places their workflow was a little bit different, right? But there are a few things you can do. For example, let's say you have a nice, busy restaurant. One way that you can make the life easier on your bartender is by having the servers communicate a 10-minute wait time for first cocktails. You can do all kinds of things in the front and back of house that makes everything easier. And these are known things. These are not made up things. These are not things that I did. There are lots of restaurants. You know who uses these things? Applebee's. You go to an Applebee's,
Franchises.
right? They always have their stuff organized really well. People clock in on time. The only problem is that they don't pay them well, right? Because the reason that they're able to run their operations so smoothly is because they're trying to extract the most value.
And they're cutting costs where they can.
But they're also working on cutting costs where they can. So then that's problem number 2.
How do you effectively cut costs without handcuffing your employees?
Don't care too much about money. Care about money enough. People always, I think it's
If you don't care about your bottom line, then why are you getting in the business?
I know, right? I think it's hard and weird because you listen to people talk and they're like, oh man, I'm having a hard time. But it's like they're paying themselves sometimes, not always, right? There's like that guy who has a Starbucks franchise I see on TikTok. He's like, oh yeah, I make this much a month or whatever. And it's like, yeah, don't fucking buy a franchise at a fucking Starbucks or Subway or some shit. But if you like open a neighborhood bar, if you're able to keep your rent cheap, you're able to keep your labor under control by you yourself working, not exploiting other people, then you can make money. It's the hands-off aspect that really contributes to the issues of small bars.
Which hands-off aspects?
The people who own it not really wanting to work. Because people open bars, not because they want to work in a bar,
but because
they don't want to work in a bar.
Right. But then you also run into the issue where if you have someone who's too hands on, then you're like, why are you hiring people to do a job that you don't feel comfortable delegating?
You know what? And you're right about that.
Because then you end up with general managers who are owners who end up just kind of overwhelmed with too many details.
Isn't that like a different issue though? Because I think that's like it's like weird because like people who shouldn't run restaurants are trying to run restaurants themselves, right? Instead of delegating. But like, I don't know, if you have a bar with 7 seats and 3 top, and you only have like a microwave, you should just probably work there.
Yeah.
you could just work there, and then you could make the money also directly.
But what about when you need to take the time to coordinate deliveries or like to make sure that all of your bills get paid on time, or to make sure that all of the taxation, loan, etc. stuff is all in order? You can't be tending bar and doing administration stuff at the same time.
I agree. I think you shouldn't do it by yourself. But also, I think that when it comes to the actual day-to-day managing of a restaurant, it's like overstated the amount of money management you have to do. It's about delegating.
It is about
Why are you
delegating.
doing it yourself? Why are you doing your taxes?
Why do you
pay somebody to do your taxes?
Why are you doing your taxes?
Why are you doing
no
your
one
taxes?
looks at those things anyway. It's like
Pay somebody to do your fucking taxes.
It's like standardized testing. It doesn't really matter. Just mark C for everything. You're fine.
Yeah, just like don't do it for 5 years and then pay it on the 6th year. They'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Wait until they give you a letter in the mail and then do it. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Wait till they give you an actual deadline. Not just like, oh, it's tax day. It's like, okay, and tomorrow's Arbor Day. Fuck out.
Obviously, I have a lot of opinions. I'm like angry. Right. And the question is, and I'm going to ask you, right? It's like, why are we so frustrated about working in restaurants and the way they're run? What, for example, like what are some experiences that you would say have formulated the way that you view the business? And I'll give you an example, right? And I'll give you one that you know, in which the place that we first met, that we worked at, the owner's brother was the one managing the restaurant. He was a fucking failure, and he told me that I was one of the good black ones. I was one of the good ones because he bangs black broads when he goes to Jamaica. He says, and he says that I'm like one of the good ones because I talk well.
Oh. Whoa.
He used to like cut his finger and bleed and try to like serve people food on the plates that he bled on. I watched him drop food on the floor and pick it up and try to serve it to people.
Was that at the same place where me working at the retail shop down the street had to stand in because I was the only person on staff that had a viable food handler certification?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah.
We're not naming names here or anything, but that was the one. I have worked in a handful of different food service like genres, I think. One of my first like high school jobs was as a dishwasher at an Italian restaurant in Sacramento, and I think honestly they kind of set the bar for competence. And
Okay.
Granted, my responsibilities were pretty minimal. I just had to wash dishes, and then eventually I was bussing, and then after that I was eventually serving and doing a little bit of food prep, and I'd come in earlier. But as far as like the way the amount of hands-on training that I got, I learned well in an environment where they're like, hey, here's the task, here's how I want you to do the task, and then we'll assess how you did it. And then once you're in it, like, we'll gradually ramp up the intensity of it. Very overcooked style, and this was at this restaurant. I felt like once I had a grasp of how back of house worked, once I had a grasp of like just how general like seating, how service, like how to wait on a table, how to make sure that customers are accommodated, I got that, and then I was able to gradually build from there. And the next food service job that I had from there was a catering cook position. And granted, there were a handful of times where I was like, we're prepping this one thing way too far in advance, or we're prepping this other thing way too close to when we actually have to serve it. And it's not going to be good, but it's going to be servable. And that's kind of where the bar started fluctuating a little bit, where I was like, okay, there's a difference between like putting your soul on a plate and just putting something that meets your customers' wants on a plate. And you're like, okay, once I figure out that like, hey, it might not be the best, but it is servable and it's fine. And if you're making 200 chicken breasts for a party, it doesn't matter that one of them doesn't have like the perfect sear on it. It just matters that you got the shit done before you had to clock out, and nothing's raw. I want to make sure it wasn't shit was undercooked. It was just like, not everything is going to have the aesthetic or is not going to have the flavor and aesthetic, but flavor is priority, and really serve safe is priority. You want to make sure all your shit's up to temperature, and you want to make sure that it meets the standards of servability.
And it might not look that good, but the reality is that if you're keeping yourself serve safe, then it should taste fine, as long as you didn't fucking like,
as long as you didn't like just drown it in like salt or pepper or something. It should be fine. And then I moved to more populated areas. Then the next position was at a pizza restaurant, and things start to kind of pare down a little bit. Like once I wasn't the one who was like receiving orders and putting them into the walk-in and stuff, you go into a new place and you see like, oh, this is how they organize their walk-in. Huh.
Yeah.
Huh. And then sometimes you're like, I feel like there is a better way to do this, but also this is the way they've been doing it for I don't know how long before I've been here. So as long as they haven't been like shut down yet, I think we're fine. And so you kind of start to burrow or bore these holes in your ethics of serving. And then I think once you start to get into like the bar scene, like once you start serving in an alcohol oriented venue, serve safe things kind of start slipping more and more. And again, it's not because
people are but they don't fucking have to. They don't have to.
Yeah.
People are just, it's just, you know what it is? I think that because it's not food the way people traditionally think of food, they get lax with it.
Yeah.
Because they think, oh yeah, this blah, blah, blah. Don't stick your hands in the cherries and people do that shit all the time. They like squeeze a lime with their dirty ass hands that they touch money and put it into your fucking drink or whatever, and they'll say, well, I have to put on gloves to put the lime in. Then you know what? Maybe we shouldn't have fucking limes.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do a whiskey and Coke at a fucking dive bar where it's $5, maybe forgo the fucking lime wedge.
The lime isn't worth it.
Maybe forgo the lime wedge, and then you can not dip your. Because I get it, it makes sense. Do you want to have to endure doing it yourself, paying somebody more to put a skewer inside of a thing and put on a pair of gloves, and they got to waste the gloves? So, well drinks should not get garnish.
Yeah.
And I know there's some people who wouldn't like that, but I don't think that you shouldn't be able to get it if you ask for it, and I don't think it should cost you anything. I just think it'll just take you longer, and you should understand as a customer that if you go, oh, can I have the lime wedge, that you're going to have to wait for the person to grab the skewer or the tongs and then put it into your fucking drink. And it's about conditioning your fucking audience, because customers are not bad because they're inherently bad. They're bad because they're conditioned to be that way. People who are
customers have what these things in their bodies called expectations. And the more they have within themselves, the worse they're going to feel. It's kind of like thetans, where it's like, and then in order to express these expectations, you really have to subvert them, right? And that's actually what I kind of appreciate about dive bars or bars that are explicitly grungy, because you go in and the music's loud and incoherent and there's stickers all over the wall, and you might see an old Miller Lite poster that's got some boobs, like just full on boobs out.
Fuck it, Lucky 13 in Brooklyn. It's like horror movies all over the wall and it's fine. But like, there's one person who works there. There's so many people who work there. If you see this, because I know some of y'all watch this, I'm sorry. There's one person who puts on like horror movies that are like gross,
like real,
like really
visceral.
Like, they all they do that always, but there's like some that are like the way they treat women in the movies are like kind of extra gross.
Okay.
And so one of the women that works there was like telling me like how they felt about it. If you watch this and it's you, because I know that some of y'all watch this actually, I know for a fact. Maybe don't do that. Maybe just don't do that.
But I do like how there is, through the branding of the dinginess, you can kind of relay like, hey, expect dingy, expect grunge. This is,
you go in, few tables, always clean. You ever notice the tables aren't filthy?
They might be a little damp because someone just came by with a slightly bleach soaked towel.
They're not littered in trash.
But there is something. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
There is something, like there is a delightful smell when you walk into a dive bar and smell Fabuloso.
Yeah.
Like that, the smell of like kind of musty beer taps, Fabuloso, and cigarette smoke just gets me going. Like that's... Oh my God. I'm ready to fucking rip.
There is something about walking into a real dive bar and it's like relatively clean. The drinks are cheap. The people who work there are kind, and it's kind of always like that because I think those kind of places, and I know because I've worked in those kind of places, you get a lot of control.
Yeah.
And so because
the bartenders have a lot of freedom,
and so
to
they have
be
a lot
like
of freedom, they're chill.
One of my favorite bartenders that I haven't seen since 2017. And I honestly can't remember her name, but I was wearing my fun little Wu-Tang sweater, and she goes, "Oh, we're twins." And I go, "What?" And she pulls up like her shirt halfway to reveal a giant Wu-Tang tattoo on her abdomen. And I was like, "That's fucking sick. You're fucking sick." And then like besties ever since. That was in Las Vegas. That was at the dive bar in Las Vegas. I hope she's doing well.
It's funny because I always say it's funny. It's funny.
Stephanie?
Oh, that's my mother's name, so you should feel weird. Anyway, one of the things that really taught me about customer expectations was when I actually ended up working at Starbucks. I started working at Starbucks. I moved my way up. I even left the job and came back until I ended up eventually managing. And
somehow he manages.
What I realized was that before I ever worked at Starbucks, I thought the stuff there is expensive. People who go there, they're like people who have money, they're rich. When you actually work in a place like that, which is surprisingly or not surprisingly, once you've done it, just as hard as working in a regular kitchen, there's a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of moving parts.
There's a lot of movements. There's a lot of things you have to do.
And the expected turnover, too. It's just
the
like
expectation's high. But I realized from engaging with my customers that the customers, they made less than I did.
Yeah.
They were making less than I did. And once you realize that and you look and you think, oh, when you have to spend $2.18 on your coffee every day and you don't make that much, when that's almost actually 0.5%, which is a lot for a cup of coffee. If a cup of coffee is 0.5% of your weekly salary, then you would also be upset if the thing that you go to work, you're exploited, they don't treat you well, your pay is not good, your life is hard, and you spend the money that you earn to go to a place and the people are rude to you, they're unkind, they don't take care of the product, they're not clean. And I know for a fact, because I worked at Starbucks, I helped launch the Reserve program in New York. I did all that stuff, and people would be dirty all the time. And when I was at work, things were clean because it's not that hard to stop, go to the back and swap out the rag and the sanitizer water when it looks milky. You know, people go, well, it's allowed to be cloudy. And then I would stop what I was doing, go in the back, get a test strip, a pH test strip, and I would test it and be like, this is obviously wrong. Bad. And they go, and then by that, I would already have in my hand a replacement.
It's already done.
Because it doesn't take a long time. But it's not the fault of the employees. It's about the system. It's always about the system that surrounds the employees. Because when you are managing the employees, you realize it's like, okay, every Starbucks is actually run like a store, an independent store. They order the stuff from Starbucks. They have all these things and requirements and stuff that are attached to them, yes. But they're expected to run the store and take ownership of the store.
And take account of
and
everything that's in and out of the store.
The person who's the manager in the store has a lot of influence over the training. They have a lot of influence over the people they bring in the store.
Yeah.
And their personality has a lot of influence. And even in a situation where a company is exploiting you and doing all those things, at the end of the day, if you have people around you in your community, people that you're in community with who are supporting you, things become easy. Because when I was a fucking barista on 14th Street, we had the funnest time. I was the most I ever drank, the most I ever had community, the most I ever felt connected, and it was the best time that I'd ever had at work. Because these fucking corporalists, these fucking capitalists don't understand.
These corporalists.
And I was trying to figure out a word for that. These capitalists don't understand that even when your people aren't getting paid well, which I wasn't,
you'll find
when they have fucking community, I'm gonna be honest also, because I was actually the most tenured and most experienced person in the store, that meant I was always often left in charge, even of people who are over higher than me in position, which meant that I had authority, they had authority, and the manager was never really there, which meant everything was awesome.
And everyone has a little bit of autonomy, and no one feels like they're stepping on eggshells.
And when you also, and this is the thing that companies always try to do when you try to take ownership of things, when you do better when you feel ownership. But like when I left that store, but right when they came in, a new manager came in and started like trying to impose their things, and the numbers started going down. I left, but I wasn't gonna sit there and try to explain to him as like, well, while there is a little bit of turnaround, the amount of freedom people had and the amount of leverage. I'm not trying to say this is good, and I'm not encouraging you to do this, but I was like working shitty hours terribly. We would go out and drink, and sometimes we would have a good time, and we would drink when we were off of work and come visit our coworkers. And once in a while, we drank at work, and we had a good fucking time. But because we had so much autonomy and we took ownership of our behavior, we recognized that we wanted to take care of our customers. We would always talk about that. And so one day we were messing around and we had a few drinks, and then customers came in and we were a little drunk, and we fucking shut that shit down. We closed it off. We stood up straight and we made it happen.
Oh, you shut down the fun time.
Yeah, because
the
you
party,
because
it's still a professional, like it's a place of professionalism.
But it's about the ownership.
Yeah,
but you're not going to get ownership once the people realize, because I didn't realize at the time, when people start to realize that the companies don't care about them, they're not paying them, then you can't trick them into believing they're taking ownership. Right, which is the truth, is that we didn't really have ownership. It's just that the store wasn't really being managed, and so we had a little bit of, and that allowed us to do well. But at the end of the day,
wait, James, are you meaning to tell me when there's no explicit power structure dynamic that people tend to actually overperform and prosper?
Oh, it's almost like you don't need to be on somebody all day, every fucking day about nothing. The best that any store I've ever worked at did well is when everybody forgot to clock in. You know why they forgot to clock in? Because they'd show up a little late because they were working late. And they were so passionate to actually show up to work.
And so enthusiastic about the work they were doing.
And they did worse once people started to like hound them about it.
Huh.
It's almost, it's weird though, because when we finally have our restaurant or our bar or our establishment, if we're running a recording VR studio thing or like a podcast thing, that'd be easy to do. We can even things that like really hands off. You have to be very careful, because people always think it's like about the money. It's like, about the money, you got to make the money.
It's not about the money. Forget about your money. We just want to make the world dance. Forget about the price tags.
The environment we live in wants us to grow more than we're able, and to hire people to exploit them. If we were to open a bar, the truth is there's a bar near me. You know it. It's very small.
Sustainable growth is not the priority.
100%. That little tiny bar right there, you and I could run that. The one that we went to that like during COVID, the one that I went to, the one that's right there on Fulton Street.
Imagine?
Yeah. That place is really small, right?
Yeah.
We could run that. You and I could run that.
Easy peasy.
We could run that whole bar. We could run it 6 days a week.
Yeah. Super, super easy, bro.
I'm not going to say that like it wouldn't be never no hard nights or anything like that, but the reality is you can do it.
Well, so, okay. What would you say if we were to run a bar like that? What would be like some of your big three, like, what would be your big three priorities in opening up a bar?
3 and quick. I'm going to add this fourth one, but it's like a prerequisite, which is if I'm hiring people, I want to pay them equitably. And that's a decision that's made before opening. So if I can't pay them, that means I'm working. That's the reality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's me, friends, it's family, and I'm paying them as well. You know what I mean? But like, that's what it's about. But the top three things are like cleanliness, and I don't mean if it looks like a dive bar, if it's slightly damp, if the floor is a little sticky. As long as it's getting cleaned at the night, I don't give a shit about that. As long as we're not drawing roaches and rats, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
It's like real cleanliness.
Make sure that your taps are washed.
Like you gotta clean your taps, right? Make sure that people are actually like cleaning the glasses. Trust me, I look when I go to bars, and that definitely helps me decide on what I get, because cocktail glasses often get cleaned better than beer glasses, because the beer glasses, they don't clean them with soap. They will just take them and they will just rinse them out. Like
or you get that 3-chamber sink one, and it's like you got one that's a rinse.
It's the rinse, wash, and sanitizer.
So,
yeah. Or two, you
get the one that's got like the little like bristle like machine. I kind of like the bristle machine, but it needs the sanitizer.
And it needs to have the sanitizer.
So if you're optimally, I would do a dump sink, a dump/rinse sink, and then a soap one sink, and then you hit the sandy sink.
100%.
And then it goes on a drying rack, or you just do the kind of dishwasher.
Honestly, I'm okay with listen.
I like a 3-compartment
if there's enough space to have the industrial big washer where you just throw the stuff, you can literally throw it in upside down.
Those are pretty
and it
sweet.
Slides in and it does it. I do that. I'm okay with that. Yeah. I love that. I'm okay with that. The second thing, and this one I think is one you agree with, but it's like weird, and it's like a me thing, is I want my employees to feel valued. If I have employees, there's a thing I'd love to do, which is maybe once a month or something, I would love to have some sort of family day.
A family day?
Yeah.
At a bar?
Yeah. Why not?
It
can be, why not? It
kids
can be,
drink half off.
I know, right? It could be, no, but it's like, it's like on Friday, let's say Tuesdays. Let's say one Tuesday out of the month, even if you're working or not, when you're done or before you work or whatever, you can bring some friends and you can get an extra steep discount, because I think that the people who work for you deserve that. And you can, especially because, you can just limit it to stuff that's affordable. Be like, oh yeah, you guys can come in on one Tuesday, the third Tuesday out of every month. You can come in, you can bring 2 people for your thing, and you can have as many wall drinks as you fucking want or whatever.
Hey, and if you're pregnant, your drinks are half off.
Your kids can't have unlimited. They can have 2 cocktails. Come on.
Come on. They're
what do you think about that? Come on.
That's not a bad idea.
Right? And I'm not even saying free, like heavily discounted.
Yeah, just like a happy hour kind of discount.
Yeah. But I like a steep one, because give them like they can bring one person with them, Every third Tuesday they can come if they want to, pay 30% of the drinks, which is going to be like the cost. Just like whatever. That way we don't eat the full cost.
Yeah.
And they get to bring their friends in or whatever. I like the idea of having, honestly, a good employee discount. I love a good employee discount.
A good employee. You got to have a shifty. Like, if you're not giving your employees shifties, then what
if we're opening a bar, that's the third one, which is the way that you have to manage the bars. You have to pretend like they're not drinking the liquor. You don't want to, because when I was at Star Smucks, the bartenders, they used to have cameras and stuff like that.
Shark butts.
And they're just like fucking, like they stare at you. They fucking hawk you.
Oh God.
You don't want.
Don't want Big Brother.
Like that bar on Broadway that we were going to. A lot of people who don't like working there, so they really don't care about the amount that they give out. You don't want your employees to do that, but you definitely want to create an environment in which your bartenders are. Listen, I'm not trying to encourage this.
You want to empower your bartenders to, at their discretion.
Let's say if your bartender is a young woman, because you're going to hire young people a lot of times, right? Let's say get yourself a nice young cis woman, and these guys
refuse to hire young people.
I know, right?
If you were born before the 70s, send me your application for a bar that doesn't exist.
Only. Let's say people come in, right? And I want to be honest with my workers. If somebody says to you, hey, So I'll buy you a drink, pocket it, and drink a shot of water if you want.
Yeah.
Or if you actually want to take a drink,
If you can still perform what's
if you
asked and expected
literally
of you.
like, I'm like, hey, if it's like the end of the shift or whatever, I'm gonna be real. If you want to take that one shot that one time, I'm asking you to be reasonable. If not, we have to have a conversation. But like, if you're chill, then like, just it should be like you still pocket it, but keep just like it should be like there should be a button for it. There should literally be a button. This is how you create good behaviors. It's like, if you do that or whatever, it's like fine, but like, don't wild out or whatever. And then if you do it, you just gotta pay 30% on the shot, whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Pocket the rest.
You give them the cheapest thing. That way they can keep the fucking money. Even put a fucking button. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, you want to encourage your bartenders to flirt with your customers, so that way you get money, they get money, and they can get wasted at the same time.
It's a liability. Okay, I'll just put a fucking button on the bar that says Friend Tuesday, but you know what? After shift drink.
Here's another thing. An after shift. Yeah, you just have a shifty button.
Yeah.
I think you should also empower bartenders not to like full on give away free things, but also that.
Oh,
like,
look, I fucking hate. Oh, no, absolutely. If something, you need to be very careful. Make sure you follow the procedures. Everything should be set up so that you're not making mistakes. If a mistake happens, the best thing I ever learned from Starbucks was so fucking silly. It was called latte, and it was their way of, oh boy, I don't know.
oh, is this their acronym?
Yeah, it's like one of their acronyms.
Okay.
And this one is like how you address customer complaints. Is you listen, you apologize, you take action, you thank them, and you restore satisfaction. Now, while obviously, because bars are a different environment, you kind of get what you get. If you're paying attention and making sure the recipes are good, you should have no returns.
In theory.
But if somebody comes back and they really weren't sure, and you check their ID, and they were like, oh, I'm sorry, I never really had a gin and tonic before, but this is like my first time, and you saw my ID, I'm 21. Fuck it, you should just take it back and give them whatever drink they want. You know what I mean?
I think most bars should also operate under the Baskin Robbins model.
A little sippy sip.
A little sippy sip.
No, you can't do that. That's liability. It's liability. That's a liability. That's why it can't be cheap.
You got a little tasty.
Can't.
Because say I'm sitting there, I see this
cocktails.
I see this cool bottle, and I'm like, hey.
No, but of cocktails. That's a good idea.
Sippy sip of cocktails.
Do a free mixes.
If I'm at a beer garden and want a little sippy sip.
Oh, I think that if you have a beer place,
if you're at a beer place,
you literally should have. And I'm be honest,
a little sippy sip.
You obviously should.
You should have
your people being chill.
Actual glasses.
That's a little too big. I think this is what I would like to do.
You'd fill it like halfway.
No. I got a better idea. This is my idea. Shot glasses.
Yeah.
You want a sip? Give them a shot of the beer. People don't really limit them because you want to be cool. You want to give them a good environment of being able to come in. But also, of course, that's the thing. That's why you need to treat your employees well. Because you cannot do policies like I'm suggesting where it's like, oh yeah, if somebody comes in and they want a sip, you should always give them a sip. Always let them try the beers.
No, you let your bartenders
beer gardens do.
At the discretion. You need to empower your. You really need to empower your front lines.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Yeah.
And if someone comes in and they're like, oh, I don't know what to get. What do you recommend? And you're like, hey, we do an espresso martini that's fucking bomb. And they're like, I don't know. I do love an espresso martini. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to just make like a little fractional one.
Well, that's what I'm saying. For things that can be pre-mixed and or batched, I like that. For beer, I think allowing a sip is always great. I think allowing sips of the pre-batched drinks are always good. Obviously, I think it's just unfortunately unreasonable for like the mixed on the spot drinks. But if you have your if you have your like Paloma on tap, which is more expensive, I think then you would just have to like do a just coach people to like do. And I'm big on coaching. It sucks.
Coaching is important.
Coaching is important, but it's about kindness.
That's the difference between managing, between being a manager and being a team leader, is the coaching aspect. Because you can be a manager and just be like, these are my expectations. This is what everyone else should be doing, and then I have to get this done. Coaching is this, like, explicitly explaining what your expectations are, and then demonstrating how you want those expectations to be met.
There's a thing I always throw in there, which is always showing them how it helps them.
Yeah.
Right? Because the reality is, it's like, hey, Sarah, you're doing an absolutely great job. Keep giving out those samples. You need to give out a little bit less because they often like it, and they're going to tip you more if they're able to actually get a drink. If you give them, there's no limit. I'm telling you right now, there's no limit. Give them as many samples as they want of the premixed cocktails or the beers, but be delicate with it because they're going to like it. They're going to purchase from you, and they're going to want to tip you more. But also keep allowing them to taste because they're going to like you, and they're going to buy the drink, and they're going to tip you more. And that's how you coach. You don't penalize them. You don't go, oh, well, you're doing too many or you're sampling too much.
It's like, we're going to have to take this out of your tips.
No, you have to be very clear and be like, hey, you're doing a great job. We offer samples of all these things because it's important that the customers taste the things so that they buy drinks from you and tip you more money, and also so that we stay open so I can keep paying you, hopefully, what is a good wage, right? And I want to keep doing that. And the only way we can keep doing that is if you make them happy, but also don't, because really you are cheating yourself in that instance.
Yeah.
It's not about lying. These people, it's about taking control. It's about managing. All they want is control. Fuck control. I want good for them, good for me.
Yeah.
I'm not here
if everyone's here having a good time, I'm having a good time.
Who needs control about anything else?
So, okay, I asked you what were the three, like,
what is yours? I
must-haves.
got excited.
Well, all right, I'll tell you mine, and then I'll give you my follow-up question. Mm-hmm. So while I'm answering the redirect, I want you to be thinking about what are your three big red flags.
Oh, I got it. I'm thinking.
About, like, so if I'm opening a restaurant, having just participated in training to open up a what would you call it, a fast casual, or would you call it like a
fast casual?
Fast casual.
I like fast cash.
Like,
when I was in DC, I told you I went to a good restaurant that did like the good. It's like a food. It's real food, but it's relatively fast.
Yeah,
but it's not fast food.
It's not fast.
That's
food.
important. That's why it's fast casual.
It's fast casual, but a tad bit more sit down than like a Chipotle.
The place I was at was fast cash sit down.
So I was at this place. I was participating in the training, and I'm gonna be honest, I bailed on them. After the first night, I kind of I felt like there were too many red flags. I didn't feel situated comfortably in it, and I thought that it was going to be biting off more than I could chew, and I got overwhelmed. And so I said, hey, thanks for the opportunity, but I'm out. And I think that's also something, like, you don't got to grow into every job. Like, sometimes part of having boundaries is just knowing when to say, like, yeah, there's an incompatibility of vibes. But anyway, what I gleaned from this experience is, like you said, one, you want to make sure that you have prioritized the things that are important for your staff to know and have actually done hands-on drills for applying that knowledge. For example,
they never do the drills, man.
They never do the drills.
I think you absolutely have to walk through.
You have
to do a walk
hands-on walk
with everyone. Even if it's empty, even if it's walk through to each section, pick up the bottle, pick up the thing, pretend like you're shaking it, because then as you watch that, as somebody who's managing, you are always going to notice, oh, actually,
like, here's the slip, or here's the random thing. Also, and this is kind of piggybacking on that. I feel like in the industry, because there's so many different types of food service styles, sometimes the language doesn't always cross over, or there's just like there's certain shorthand that's used in some settings that isn't used in other settings. Like for me, from going to a dive bar or like a more like point and shoot kind of bartending to going towards a more service restaurant oriented bartending, it was jarring, and there were just
Like
some
an example.
So one example was calling tickets. And I'm sure if you've ever worked in like a real busy bar,
But I said you could have done it.
I could have done it.
It just wasn't shown to it. Literally,
I just didn't know what the thing was being asked.
you just weren't
of
confident
me.
enough, I think, a little bit.
Well, that too.
I think you were a little not confident about it, but also that could have been alleviated by the person just being like, "Come here, real quick.
Just
all
like,
you do
hey,
is
this is what I
read it
need
like
you
this.
to do.
Take as many tickets as possible. Look across, and then just call out the number of drinks that you need, and you keep track of what ticket."
And so again, that goes back to just having done the run through to be coordinated.
Yeah.
And I think just having everyone on the same page is essential. And I think part of that would be also, and this was something that we were talking about that I had one experience in food service that did very well, and at the time I thought it was silly, and I thought it was redundant, and I thought it was a little kindergarten-y. But looking back, I'm like, oh shit, no, that is square one, and it's having opening and closing checklist procedures to have like an actual like, hey, these are all of the things that we need to get done before we open. These are all of the things that need to get done before the end of the night. And then having that just checked off by a general manager.
It's good for accountability as well.
It's great for accountability, and it makes sure that you're not just kind of it's making sure that the things that would otherwise kind of fly under the radar where you're like, oh, we don't really have to do this, is like an every other week thing. It doesn't have to be an every other week thing. You can clean your beer taps more than once a month if you just put it on a nightly checklist or even a weekly checklist. Like,
Absolutely.
that kind of accountability. And then going back to the first thing I was saying with the drills, if you're going to have a server area, like point 3, if we're opening a bar, I would prefer that it were in a small enough venue to where all orders are made directly at the bar. Like you wouldn't have maybe you have a food runner or a drink runner or like a porter or something, a bar back. But if you're going to be opening a restaurant, make sure that you have a hard copy of the actual seats layout, like of the tables.
They didn't have a fucking seat layout.
No,
but they couldn't because the fucking seats were weird. We're talking about a place that he used to work at. The seating was weird, and that makes a lot of sense because it's hard when you barely actually have tables.
This is also the beer garden around the corner here, where they would change their seating layout so regularly. And if you're gonna have a service station serving type deal where it's like you're not just going up to the bar, here's what you do. Here's how you bypass having to like remember, oh, this table's this one is this one. When you are in like a beer garden type format where like sometimes tables just move around, sometimes things move around, just fucking emboss each table. Like you have this one that's like, okay, this is table 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just have it embossed on each table so that way as you're taking your order, you can be like, oh, table 5 has da-da-da-da-da, boom, boom, boom. Okay, I got these beers for table 5. If someone needs me to split the check later, I can split it accordingly.
I'm going to be honest. You don't even do all that.
You don't need to do
You know
all
what you
that.
really do? I'm not even joking. Pay them better. The big issue is that the people are not paid well. There's not even that many fucking seats.
There's not even that many seats.
There's not even that many seats.
It's not that complicated,
people are not
but
being
it's one
paid.
of those like it's a minor hiccup where like if you're taking an order, if you're in the weeds as a server, you're taking an order, you're just like, fuck, what table is this again?
And they don't open up the sections correctly either. It's because when it gets busy, they open up all the outside, and it's like weird.
And people will just sit outside expecting someone to come out to them and ask. That's the shit that I'm like, if you're outside,
there's signs, by the way,
to let someone know.
There's literally, you know what?
inside.
And again, it talked about this earlier. It's about the way the consumer, if you go there, that's what you do. And that's bad. You're supposed to go inside, but they don't do that.
And that's why I would say if we actually had a place, you order from the bar. Like I love servers. I am a server. I serve on a regular basis. I'm serving right now. But I think that just for convenience sake, have people order directly at the bar.
If you really need to, I like the very Asian, Korean method. And you see this adopted by other places, I think, as well as like there's some other restaurants who do this where you give them the number or a thing
like the little table flag?
The thing that buzzes.
Oh,
if they're leaving, you know what I mean? So they can come get it, or you can put a little table flag.
I love a table flag.
That way you can actually have the server come to them.
Yep.
You know what I mean? In that case, unfortunately, I think you'd have to split. That's the problem. I actually don't. I think I'd like to also have a tipping free establishment. I'm sorry. I've been thinking about the red flags about everything you've been saying, and it's all really one, which is it's always mostly lack of training. If you ever go to a place and there's a lack of training.
Anytime I've ever felt anxious in one of these positions, it's because I felt underprepared to do my job.
Sorry.
I'm
saying that's the mega red flag.
The mega red flag is that if you go in and you feel underprepared, or if you feel kind of scared to ask for support, that's the other one.
Because once you start working, all the things that are red flags have already passed you by, right? It's like if you're looking for a job and they make you do 10 interviews, effectively they're just trying to see how manipulable you are, right? How much they can manipulate you. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to see if they can just ring you to the ringer so that they can the people who stick around, they push around.
I mean, that's the whole point of The Bachelor.
It is though. And The Bachelorette.
Isn't it?
It is.
And it's like, I just want to
and that Tokyo Tony show.
Which one?
Tokyo Tony is the mother of oh shit, what the fuck is her name?
Tila Tequila?
Yes. No, not Tila Killer. No, she's fucking no.
Flava Flav?
No.
Brett
That's racist.
Michaels?
No. Get out of my face.
I'm just going through love shows. But there are like a series. I think one of the biggest red flags that I've kind of that I've really clocked in a handful of different working environments.
Black China.
Oh,
that's her mother anyway. She had a reality show.
Oh, really?
On Zeus.
What?
It's a black streaming service that you don't know anything about.
Oh, Zeus. Of course I know about
Zeus Network. Wow.
Zeus.
Michael Blackson has that show on there.
You know, I watch Zeus before I go to bed every night. It's almost as good as
BET.
Athena.
That's racist. Anyway.
No, one of the biggest red flags is like this is gonna sound kind of, I don't know, not super anti-capitalist of me. But if you're talking to employers and there's any sort of like weird awkwardness around discussing money, that is a major red flag.
Who said that's anti-capitalist? You're allowed to have money.
You're
supposed to have money. It's supposed to be your money because it's your labor.
Am I allowed as an anti-capitalist, am I allowed to be like, if you're fucking with my money, you're fucking with my emotions?
I mean, you're supposed to know how much you're getting paid, and it should be expected how much you're getting paid, and they should communicate to you clearly how much you're getting paid.
And that's the problem with a tip-based system in general, is you never really know how much you're getting paid, especially if it's a tip pool kind of situation.
All tied into one red flag. It's all the training. It's all the training, the management, and the organization.
And it's at the discretion of like, well, the manager sees that someone's not working as hard, so they're not going to get tipped out when you pull the that. Honestly, that tells me like your manager may be the most impartial person, but if you're pool tipping and then there's actual disparity, because that was in the last one, where they were like, you can like basically earn higher level, like through your work you can get promotions. You can get promotions to get a higher percentage of the tip out.
Thumbs down.
Which essentially means if you're getting of the tip pool, not the salary, of the tip pool, if you're getting a higher percentage, that means someone else is getting less.
I don't understand how. Wait, what?
That's an actual scarcity of resources.
If you're concerned about things being equal, then shouldn't the amount that you work mean? Shut the fuck up, okay? Okay, we're gonna have to leave because I'm about to get angry because no, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. Because they're leveraging your ability to be alive. With something that's also arbitrary, because it's not like as though there's actually, I know for a fact, I never worked there, but there's not like some sort of automated system in the background that calculates the number of drinks that you've sold and then moves you up to the next level. It's a person. It's always a person who does it.
Who's like, oh, I saw this behavior. And so the one I was at was like, everyone starts at 6 points. And that determines your tip out percentage, which I don't know what does 6 points equate to?
Yeah, you're right. What is that? What is that?
Oh,
it's points, not dollars, because you can change it and move it however you want.
Or it's points, not percents either, because it's not like you're. So that was a first red flag, and then like, all right, so the manager kept on making like jokes where it was like someone was like, so what should we expect on a regular tip out night? And he was like, ha 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 ha, nothing. And like, obviously it's not like he was doing a bit.
Of course.
He was doing a bit. And so like bit recognized bit.
But it's not nothing.
But it's not nothing.
And you should be, when you ask, you should be told.
And it's like, this is the kind of thing that I require like the utmost transparency on, for me to feel secure. And then similarly, there was the whole situation again with this beer garden that I'm gesturing behind. You're mad, because it's literally
I know where it is.
And like I went in for a training shift, and then my training shift was cut short because the person who was supposed to be training me was overwhelmed by the amount of customers that were in, because he was had only been there for 3 or 4 months prior. When I got there for the training shift, the owner who had brought me on wasn't there for the entirety of the 2 to 3 hours that I was quote unquote training. There was just the bartender and then the other fairly green server who was telling me
green, not purple or blue or orange. Gotcha.
Well, green like a greenhorn, like fresh on the boat.
Oh,
it's a term in swamp people. You'd get it. Green like a
wrestler. I know what the fuck green means. Okay.
Yeah, you know what green means. Come on now, don't make me out to be something I'm not. Anywho. Anyway, by the end of this like 2.5 hour training shift, they're like, hey, this guy's overwhelmed. Today's maybe not the best day for your training shift. Would you like to, or maybe we should schedule it for another day? And I was open. I was available. I was like, cool. What other day would this work? And they were like, maybe we'll touch base on Monday and we'll try back. And I'm like, okay, cool. How should I expect to be compensated for this shift? And they scoffed and went, well, you want to be put on payroll for a 2-hour shift?
Yes. That's also the fucking law.
And even then, I'm not even expecting to be put in. I'm not even expecting to put give them my social security, be put on their payroll, but I do expect to be compensated for the time in which that I was responsible to you.
Money, please.
Training is still I could have been home doing laundry. I could have been doing other things, but instead I'm here trying to figure out how I fit in this business. And if you think that that's not worth compensation, brother, you got another thing coming.
It's a fact. You could be doing anything. You could be doing anything else. You could literally, it doesn't even matter. People always go, well, what if you just at home jerking off? That's your time to do what you want. And so you should, whatever you expect to be paid is actually kind of what you should get paid. I'm going to get canceled. Oh God, we've run out of time. We've become anti-capitalist people, but listen, the reality is that there's two things. One, the world you live in, the world you want to live in, right? The world that you actually live in, the world that we live in, doesn't mean you should expect anything less. Expectations are moved by the people who matter, and you matter. If you're at work and they're using you, trust me, they couldn't be fucking open without you. Even you're like, well, I left. There's a bunch of people that you say that. But if you left, how many other people left? If they continue to behave like that, to form a structure like that, what's going to happen?
In a sinking ship. You look for these kinds of signs where you're like, hey, they might figure it out. I don't want to be here through the growing pains. And I think that's kind of becoming a reoccurring thing that both you and I have seen.
Absolutely.
Is that we'll start these new jobs with things or companies or businesses that are in this transitionary period. And it's like, I don't want to be the one who's responsible for your growth. I want a paycheck to clock in and to leave my job at my job. Is that too much to ask?
Not for me. Is it for you? Guess what? You can let us know in the comment section below. What do you think about this? Are you mad? Are you mad that we're pushing against the kind of thoughts that you have about the reality that you live in? Remember, you are owed what you are owed. You do not have to live inside of an apartment because you wanted to.
Your labor isn't the only thing that's worth money. Your time, your effort, and your just general existence, consciousness, and surveillance is worth something. There is a monetary value to you just existing as an employee.
We're nice. When we work and we own our own place, you should come.
That's a good plug. What do we call it?
You know what? It depends. If the podcast blows up, then we're going to have to call it Behind the Bar or something. Or was it? Oh, I have some ideas, but I'm not going to tell you because I don't want you to steal it because it's a capitalist society. But guess what?
Hey, it's a dog world.
It's a dog world. And of course, as always, you can find me. Look, you're already watching this, okay? We've learned already. Go down there, click the links, see the things.
Where?
Oh my.
Yeah, and same here. If you know me, you love me.
Chandler Phillips, James Beery, at Living Dad Joke on TikTok, homobeercomedy.com. Chandler Phillips. Chandler does jokes.
Remember, drinking is not required,
but it is
recommended.
I feel like it was good. I feel pretty good. You know, I will say